Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Is Word with Gloria. I hope you're all doing great. And today our topic is communication in relationships, and our text is taken from Amos 3, verse 3. And I'm going to read that. So, Amos 3 3. Which says, "Do two work together unless they have agreed to meet? Do two work together unless they have agreed to meet?" Like I said, our topic is communication in relationship. Whether it is with your spouse or just someone very important in your life, communication is very important, is very key to the development of that relationship. Whether it's with your spouse, with your parents, with your children, with your siblings, with your colleagues at work, communication is very important because as human beings, nobody is a loner. We meet with people every day, and it's very important that we maintain healthy relationship with everyone we come across. Whoever it is that we are working with or we are living with, it's always very important we have healthy relationships with them. And you can't have an healthy relationship if you don't know how to communicate. And that's why today we'll just be talking about communication in relationship, and I'll just narrow it to marriage today, and some other time we can discuss about other relationships. So I've said it before that I'll always use my personal experience like to talk about some of these topics and whatever God is laying in my heart to share with you guys. And very it's very important to know that you must know how to communicate with your partner. Today we have many issues in marriages, sometimes that can be resolved and it leads to divorce or separation. And this is because from the beginning the foundation has been faulty. Many a times, many of us tend to bottle up things, bottle up issues, things bothering us. Some people are not confrontational in nature, so they better just keep quiet. And some are very good at expressing themselves, and because they are so angry and they speak up and they say things they're not supposed to say out of anger, and before you know it, words are like weapons. It has a way of piercing hearts when you say some things that I had to learn it. Like I said, I'll share my personal experience. I remember while growing up, this kind of person, I'm not confrontational, but when you hurt me, sometimes when I'm very angry and I decide to speak, the things that come out of my mouth, just because I've been bottling up for maybe for months or for years, you've done something, I've refused to talk, and all of a sudden I'm pushed to talk. So by the time I'm talking, the things that come out of my mouth sometimes, like I remember my younger sister telling me that I say things that when the person hears, the person will feel like committing suicide. Like the words are usually so, the words that come out of my mouth can be so painful, and it hurts them. So I had to learn, like I had to learn to express myself when someone has done something at that point in time. Address it. Don't sleep over it. Don't let it linger in your heart before you talk about it, or you just feel okay you have to be a bigger person and walk away from it, or just ignore the situation. No, because the more you ignore situations, it's not as if it's living, you're just piling up the earth, and by the time it will explode like a time bomb. By the time it will explode, it's usually even on issues that on a normal day should not bring out that kind of reaction from you, but because you refuse to talk when it happened. So like I said, that's why it's very important, like no matter what it is someone does to you, your spouse, because conflict is inevitable in relationships. It's just the reality. But what is most important is how do we go about resolving this conflict and these issues? And that's what we'll be dealing with today. So you must learn to speak out. Like if your partner has done something you don't like, your spouse has done something you don't like, always learn to say your mind. And my dad taught me something. You can say your mind without being disrespectful. You can express yourself without insulting anybody. All you need to do is just sit them down, let them know you want to speak with them, and tell them, okay, this is what you said, this is what you did that I don't like. If you had done it this way, if you had said this, it would have been better than the way you coming out and saying that to me, either in public or whatever happened. Like there are better ways of saying things. And when you know, you must also understand that there is not every time that the situation is right to have that discussion. So it's not just about you. The idea of you communicating with someone is not just for them to listen to you, but for them to understand where you're coming from, for them to understand that they've hurt you, and for them to also apologize to you, and also understand you to understand where they are coming from, or what made them make that statement, or what made them to act that same way, and both of you reaching a compromise and get to a point where you understand, okay, I did this wrong, and I did this because you did this, and I'm sorry, and both of you trash it out and you move ahead. So that's why I said it's very important to always make sure that when you want to communicate, be sure that that person is ready to communicate. Communication is not one-sided. It's two ways. I want to talk. Are you ready to listen to me? And that's where you guys are able to resolve the issue. When you want to talk, make sure that the other person is ready to listen. So because it's not about you just doing the talking. The other party must listen, and at the end of the day must be able to respond to you, and you also be able to get the needed result you want. So sometimes, in as much as you want to talk, you want to say whatever it is that is on your mind, you want to pour it out, always ensure that that person is in a situation or is in a comfortable time of his life to be able to hear you out, and at the end of the day you people be able to resolve your issues. Then secondly, again, your manner of approach matters. How you talk, how you speak, and there are some words we shouldn't use, and that triggers, for me, triggers, especially when you say, oh, this is something you always do. When you make such statements, like you've already given up, you just assume that I'm already like that, I'm not going to change, and you just assume that, okay, I do it intentionally because that's what you're trying to say. So always avoid using words like, oh, I always tell you, you don't listen, or this is what you always do. Avoid using such statements when you want to have a discussion with your spouse or with your partner. Like, let it always be a clean slate. When someone has done something, like, we are human, and these are things that we are used to for many years before we got married. Something, their habits, their nature, and God is working on everybody. So always give the person that benefit of doubt. Like when they've done something, you say, okay, the person say, I'm sorry, and you guys have moved ahead from it. Don't always bring it back when you want to start another discussion or you want to address another issue. Let it be in the past. Always address issues and don't bring their nature or their past mistakes to correct what is an issue at that point in time. So no, don't make such statement like it's something you always do. No. So address it like, okay, this is what you did, I don't like it. Don't say, oh, it's something you always do, and no, don't make such statements. It triggers the person, and at the end of the day, it worsens the whole situation. So make sure that, like I said, your manner of approach is very important. Don't come defensive, don't come angry. Then watch how you speak, watch your statement also. At the end of the day, both of you, and there's something I always say, marriage is a partnership. It's about the both of you. It's not about any other person. You run that home. Both of you are the ones in charge of that home, running your home, and you determine how you want your home to be. So you must always agree. And even that's why the Bible says that can two work together except they agree. You must always work together. Like every marriage, even before the marriage, right from when you are dating, you should have drawn your templates, like your own commandments of what you want in your home. Both of you are agreeing on it. This is how we run our home, not based on what the society is saying or what people are saying or what the man's ego dictates. No, you are building your home on the word of God. You are building your home on what both of you talk about, you agree should happen in your home. That's how you people run your home, irrespective of external voices. It doesn't matter. What matters is what both of you want and how you want to run your home. And you must make sure that at the end of the day, both of you are happy. Marriage is a mutual commitment, it's mutual love, mutual commitment, mutual understanding. It's not a master-slave relationship. No, you have a voice, she has a voice. In as much as God has placed the man as the head, and as a woman you have to submit to his authority. But at the same time, the Bible says you treat her like a weaker vessel. Like, you make her understand that that is your wife. You cherish her, you pamper her, and you as a woman, you honor your husband. He's your head. You give him that respect he deserves. And at the end of the day, make sure, like I said, whatever differences you people have, you can resolve it without insulting each other. You can resolve it without shouting at each other. You don't have to make a scene. That's why we are matured adults. Like, okay, sit down, honey, I want to see you. Like, that is how I express myself when my husband has done something I don't like, or he has done something that I'm not comfortable with. I just tell him, Gary, I want to speak with you. And when he knows I've said that, he'll be like, what have I done again? And we'll sit down, we'll talk about it. And if it's something he needs to apologize, he will apologize. If it's something I have to apologize, I apologize. As couples, apologizing shouldn't be a big issue for us. In marriage, your pride shouldn't come in. You leave your pride outside. In your home, pride shouldn't even be there at all, because this is your partner. He is you, you are him. You are one. That's how God sees both of you. So don't allow pride in your relationship at all. Don't allow pride in your marriage at all. You have to learn to humble yourself. As a woman, you have to learn to humble yourself. As a man, you have to put away your ego and know that this is your home. It must work. And you can't have a happy home if you don't have a happy wife. Same thing as a woman. If you don't have a happy husband, you can't have a happy home. So both of you, the happiness of that home is dependent on both of you. It's not just one person's job. It's what both of you must agree on. It's what both of you must be determined. Like, marriage is a commitment. I tell people it has nothing to do with feelings. The feelings sometimes jumps out of the window with time because you become too familiar with each other. But what keeps you going? What keeps you going is that commitment you're giving to each other. We are going nowhere. Like, that's why I tell myself and my husband, we tell ourselves we are going nowhere. We're in this together. So no matter the issues, no matter what we face in life, we just always have to resolve it and know that it's just the two of us. And we're on this journey together. And I've shared in the past what God told me. That it's a vehicle. Both of you are in that vehicle. And I'm the driver of that vehicle, and I'm taking both of you to a destination. So on no accounts can either of you say you want to open the door and get down. That's what God told me. So you must both get to that destination where I'm taking both of you together. And he said, no matter the bombs you encounter on the way, because I'm in the vehicle with you, nothing will happen. So that's where the conflict comes in. That's when issues in marriages comes in. They come in form of the bombs, the gallops we eat, and everything. But at the end of the day, you will both survive it, because God is in that car with you. God is in that marriage with you. God is in that relationship with you. So you also must play your part in loving each other, in respecting each other, and respectfully resolving your issues. And sometimes our natures still come in place. And I'll share my own personal experience. I'm someone who is naturally very independent. I've always been very independent, and my parents gave me that room to always like do things I want to do. All I need to do is just let them know that, okay, daddy, mom, this is what I want to do. And they always give me their support. Like, they never restricted me on anything. They gave me that freedom to fly my wings and achieve whatever I want to achieve. So now I'm coming into a marriage, I'm coming into a union where, you know, both of you must agree. Even though you have your dreams, you have your dreams, you have your aspirations, but at the end of the day, it's not just about you now, because you are two working together, and you must ensure that you guys need to work together and agree on some of these, your plans, your visions, your goals and aspirations. And at this point in time, like I said, I'm used to making my own decisions. I'm used to doing things I want to do. I had that freedom, and I had the support at every point in time. But this is someone you're getting married to. He also has his dreams, he has his aspirations, and sometimes the reality of life is that there are times when these goals or these aspirations will clash. And at this point, what do both of you do? And that's why you see situations where sometimes a woman has to bury herself, has to bury her dreams and make the sacrifices for the home. I'm not saying it's wrong, but at the end of the day, like I said, both of you, it's marriage is a partnership, and both of you have to be happy. And so you need that. These are times when you need to communicate, when you need to have those deep discussions, like, what do we do in this situation, and make sure that you both agree, so that at the end of the day, when that woman is making that decision, she's making it out of love. Like, this is what she wants to do for the family, not that because you forced her to do it, so that she doesn't have regrets later in life. And I'll give you an example. Before we got married, these were the discussions that my husband had. I know that I'm a kind of woman that I've always been career driven. I know what I wanted to do in my life. In short, I had a journal where 80 years of my life was already written out. And I remember I showed him the journal. So I wanted him to know who I was and my plans about my future, about my perspective about life. He knows all that. So I gave him the journal to read. So I told him, I said, okay, and this, I gave a scenario. I asked him, I said, what if it happens that tomorrow I get a job and it takes me out of the country? Like, would you allow me to go? Or what is going to be your decision at that point in time? And he told me, he said, of course, we'll go. Like, and it's not just about you going. If I have to leave my job and go with you, we'll all go together as a family. And I remember I asked him, are you sure that you're not just saying this because you feel that that's what you're supposed to say? He said, no, that's how he sees things, and that's how, I mean, he views life, and he views marriage like it's a partnership. At the end of the day, if it's something that is going to, I mean, he will look at it. Is it going to be more, is it more advantage, is it going to be a better advantage for us to leave or for me to stay and just allow you go? That those are the things we'll look at, not just, oh, because I'm a man you can't go, you have to stay. As in, his ego won't always come in place. That's what he was trying to make me understand. At every point in time, we always look at what is more beneficial for both of us as a family. And and that's how we should think in marriage and in partnership. At the end of the day, whatever decision you make, whatever decision you are taking at every point in time should always be to the benefit of the family, of the both of you. It's not where somebody is happy and the other person is unhappy, or somebody is moving ahead in life while the other party is stuck in one place. And at the end of the day, like I said, it's already faulty when it gets to that point. There are already issues in that marriage when it gets to that point, because one party is already feeling cheated, one party is already feeling neglected. So at every point in time, you are both working together. Always have, when time comes for you to have that deep discussion, both of you should always have that deep discussion. Don't always think, okay, because you're the man, you have the final say. No, always take time to listen to what your wife has to say on that situation. Both of you coming together, having that discussion, and looking at the pros and the cons, and at the end of the day, deciding what is beneficial to the family. And I'll give you another instance. Few months to when I was to get married, I got a job in Abuja, and my husband already got a job and he transferred him to Kaduna. And I remember I had always told him that I don't want to do long distance relationship, especially when we are just starting our home, our marriage. Like, I don't want a situation where I'm in Abuja, you're in Kaduna. And I remember I gave up the job, and it was a very good job. The money was good. In short, the benefit and the package that came with the job was just too good. It came with a car and a personal driver. It came with so many benefits and everything. But luckily for me, my sister is a lawyer. So instead, I told my friend that, okay, I can't take this job because I'm getting married, but my sister is a lawyer, and if you don't mind, I could give her your CV. I said, no problem, give me your sister's CV. But what I'm trying to say is that it wasn't a big deal for me at that point in time to make that sacrifice, because what was important to me is like, okay, this is my home, this is my marriage, I'm just starting, I'm just building it, and I didn't want a situation where I and my husband are living apart. So regardless of how good the job was, regardless of the money I was to be paid, what was more important to me was my home, that at that point in time that I needed to build. So it wasn't a big deal for me to sacrifice that job. And that's one thing I want most men to understand, that as long as your woman sees that you are worth it, there's nothing a woman, no sacrifice that she cannot make, especially when she's rest assured that at the end of the day, I am not making a mistake, I'm not going to regret my actions, because she knows that if it's you, if it has to do with you tomorrow making sacrifices for her to also move ahead, you will do that. So it's a partnership, and the moment you come to understand that it's a partnership where no one is feeling cheated or feeling left out, it's always very easy to make those sacrifices, to be able to drop everything. Likewise, when it was time for us to relocate to Canada, I had a very good job again, and my husband was saying, okay, let's move. You get, but at the end of the day, I was ready to leave everything again and follow him, because I know, okay, at every point in time, I've always had his support. At every point in time, I know that, okay, when time comes, he makes the sacrifices for us too as a family. So it's always very easy. It's not always something I always have to think of or bother my head about. And once each party is always sure of that, okay, at the end of the day, it's always what is for the benefit of the family. We look at the pros and the cons, we sit down, we talk about it. It becomes easier to run that home, to run that marriage. And that's why communication is very important, where both of you will always have to sit down and talk over issues, and not just one person making decisions all the time. Yes, you can take the initiative to make decisions, but just always make sure that the other party is in agreement with whatever it is at that. So it's very important that nothing is too big, or nothing is too small for for you guys to always have those serious talk or serious discussions. Like as a couple, you must always talk about everything, and do not minimize each other's hurt. Like, what did I do that should warrant you to be that angry? No, no matter how angry they are, you are not them. So whatever it is that they've done, like, always listen, like pay attention to listen, and also not just listen and try and make amend and make sure that that issue is resolved and it doesn't come up again. But we are human, so conflict will always come up. But the most fun thing is for us to build healthy relationships where we can always address these issues respectfully, without shouting at each other, without insulting each other, and letting go. This is where forgiveness comes in place. And even the Bible made us to understand that you have to forgive 7 times, 7 times in the Bible. And it's not even possible for any human being to hurt you that much in a day, and yet God is asking us to always forgive. So forgiveness is very important in every relationship. We will hurt each other, we will step on each other's toes, but at the end of the day, learn to always communicate, learn to express yourselves, and learn to let it go, forgive, move on, forget. Don't keep bringing the past mistakes into your relationships, because it hinders the growth of that relationship when you keep bringing the past mistakes. So we should learn to respect one another, we should learn to love each other, we should learn to respectfully talk to one another. It's very important. Under no condition should you talk to your partner in a condescending manner. Under no I know that under no circumstances should you hit each other. Under no circumstances should you insult each other. These are things that you must agree on and work on in your relationship, on how to address each other and speak with each other with respect. Whether you're the man, whether you're the woman, like I said, pride and ego shouldn't be what is in a marriage, because the moment pride comes in or ego comes in, then that relationship is faulty. Then you create a situation where she can't even talk to you. No, that's not marriage. Marriage is a partnership. It's mutual love and respect. So as you expect her to respect you, you must also respect her. And both of you should always respect each other and work together in love. I always say something. It's both of you. At the end of the day, it's just both of you. Your children will even grow up and one day leave the house and go and start their homes, and to just be both of you left. It will always be both of you. After the wedding, after everything, it's just the both of you. So you must always live in that consciousness, is that this is my partner for life. It's both of us. So we must always make sure that we work together and we resolve our issues, and we're there and we are going nowhere. That's it. And I just want to encourage men out there that you just have to be patient. You know, the way we women are created, we are totally created. We are special beings. Like I always say, we are special species. God created us separately, and as in the way God have designed us, we are very special, very very special. So you guys just need to be very patient with us. We like to talk.